At the end of the day, I'm here to help entrepreneurs design brands that guide them to seven-figure success. What is going on, everybody? We got some awesome people in the house already. Jason O'Neill, what is going on? There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. What's shaking, buddy? So, man, I am super pumped to share with you some cool little tips and tricks I've been learning over the past couple weeks of being on this new hot app called Clubhouse. My God, I'm sure you guys have been hearing about this freaking app, and it's been picking up some crazy momentum. One of my mastermind group members sort of described it in the best way possible. He's like, if a podcast had sex with a mastermind group, you get Clubhouse. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell, guys. I mean, it is a very, very powerful social platform right now. A lot of the heavy hitters in the internet marketing space and in the live speaking space, I'm seeing a lot of big angel investors and some of the biggest names coming on this platform and just doing some amazing things, man. Daniel Montgomery says, yeah, Clubhouse seems awesome. Just got to get that invite. Daniel Montgomery, reach out to me. I actually have one invite available. PM me on Facebook and I will get you an invite. I was saving it for a client, but I was able to get him into Clubhouse without an invite. I think he already was in there sort of. So I was able to get him in. So I have one left. I'm happy to give it to you. So as long as you're going to use it, you got to promise me that you're going to use it for the greater good. Okay, so shoot me over a PM and I am happy to get you in there. So I have one invite left. So man, I cannot wait to share with you some really cool tips and tricks on how to leverage Clubhouse to create some lucrative opportunities. And we're going to get right back into it as soon as we deliver this quick little message to you. All right, guys. So let's talk about some ways that you can start leveraging Clubhouse to create some lucrative opportunities. So I have been doing more listening than creating on this particular platform. One, because I want to get the lay of the land and get a better understanding of how people are using it. So here's some of the discovery that I've found, right? A lot of these influencers are teaming up and partnering and creating these rooms with really catchy headlines and creating these massive audiences inside of these rooms. So picture like an old AOL chat room where you could just create a room and like people start to migrate into it. And the only thing you could do is really like chat with people via text. Well, there's rooms like this in Clubhouse where it's all audio. So people join the rooms and now you're an audience member that is listening, because it's audio only, is listening to these heavy hitters, people that charge thousands of dollars for consulting, are all sitting up on a panel as moderators, basically just sharing tons of valuable information. Now, I've seen a few people monetize these rooms, very interesting ways, right? For example, there was a room that I was in that was all about pitching to investors. So there was a bunch of investors on the panel. I was on the panel as more of a branding expert, discussing that kind of stuff. But what was happening was the room was filling up crazy, right? And people were trying to ask the questions, but they would have had to wait hours to get their questions answered. That's how many people were in the room. So the moderator in the room says, I'll tell you what, here's my Cash App username. You could send me $1. You could send me as much money as you want to cut the line. And so people were sending in 100, 200. One guy, he skipped the line. He skipped like 6 people. And I don't even know what he paid, because when we refreshed the room, the other moderator was like, oh, Steve's up next. And the host of the group was like, no, this guy is up next. He put his money where his mouth is. So God knows what he paid. But they were taking snapshots of the receipts of the Cash App and putting it in their profile pictures, showing what they paid to ask the question or to pitch their idea. So this was creating tremendous opportunity for these potential business owners to get their projects funded. So I thought that was a very interesting way to create these opportunities, both on monetizing Clubhouse, but on the other end, getting yourself in front of people that you normally wouldn't get in front of, right? So that's one way. Another way that personally has been creating some great momentum for me is, I don't know if I told you guys already, but I joined this mastermind group late last year. It was like right after Thanksgiving. And the founder of the group sees the fire that this Clubhouse app is catching. A guy by the name of Matt Andrews, rock star of a dude, super awesome guy, goes on and starts to really put in the effort on this Clubhouse app, right? He went from like 0 to 12,000 followers in like 2 weeks, right? If that. And he encourages all the mastermind members to come in. So sort of like dragged us all in. I wasn't too keen on coming in at right away, because I kind of, when these new apps open up, I'm curious. Like I like to let them grow a little bit, see if they catch steam. But this guy was like, I'm telling you right now, let's go, because I see something here. So drags me in, and I notice that he's got some massive connections, right, with some big names. So the one day he drags me into a room and he's sitting next to Grant Cardone. And so I'm like, okay, now, not to go too far off, but wasn't a huge fan of Grant for a while. I don't know. I just didn't connect with him, right? Just didn't connect with him. But as I continued to spend more time with him in these rooms, I've noticed like a big shift in Grant. Like, I don't know, he came out with this new show called Billionaire Undercover, where he went to Mexico for 3 months and he couldn't tell anybody who he was. And he had to make $1 million in 90 days. And it was crazy because I don't know, maybe that experience just humbled him, but I'm seeing a whole different side of Grant that I actually really like. He seems to be really putting in the effort and time on Clubhouse and really connected with people. Oh, look at my man, Stephen Kuhn is in the house. What's going on? Stephen has been a moderator in a really awesome Clubhouse room called Breakfast with Champions. Breakfast with Champions. Glenn Lundy, he was on the Brand Doctor podcast not too long ago, is, I believe, the spearhead of that room. If not, forgive me. But Stephen Kuhn, he's been on that panel of moderators in that room consistently. And man, that room filled up like crazy. There's over 1,000 people there this morning. So Stephen, real quick, that room is now my morning ritual when I go out for my walks. I was freezing my ass off out here in New Jersey this morning going on my walk, but you guys kept me warm, man. Lisa Copeland was moderating the room and asking questions, and Grant popped in. And Grant was providing some great insights from his perspective. I've heard Stephen drop some gems in that room when people are asking questions. Stephen says, I'm a permanent party member, basically. We had almost 3,000 people in there today. Yeah, it is an awesome room. And, to get as close to the talent and caliber and expertise that sits on that panel, Stephen, you included, my friend, it has been transformational. Yeah. Join us next time and I'll add you as a moderator. You add massive value. Oh, Stephen, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. I will be as much value as I possibly can in that room for sure. But it is my morning ritual now, Stephen, to listen to you guys as I go on my walks in the morning to get my my kickstart of the day, man. Roberto says, holy shit, you're everywhere. Yeah, I just spent 2.5, probably 3 hours today on Clubhouse, and I was so excited to get this message out to my live stream audience. I had to come on here. I got to go pick up my little guy in about 10 minutes, but let me see how much more I could give you guys before I head out. So these big names are creating these big rooms, and the access you have to these people is insane. I would never be rubbing elbows with Grant Cardone if I wasn't connected with Matt Andrews, right? So Matt Andrews made the connection, and that's just one example, right? That's just one example. Stephen Cood says, you've helped me so much. It would be an honor. Help others kickstart. I spent 7 hours today. Yeah. That seems to be the trend, Stephen. Like, it's crazy how much time you can spend on this platform. I won't lie. My wife was like, really? You're gonna be on this thing during dinner? Like, the one night I was in this room and there was like the head of digital media of Nike in this room as a moderator. And I wanted to ask a question, and there were some other huge heavy hitters hosting the room. And there was like, I had to ask this question. So my wife was making dinner. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I got my hand raised. They brought me up to stage and I'm just waiting in line patiently. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to miss this opportunity. So I had to keep the phone on the damn dinner table. I don't recommend this, by the way. My wife almost kicked my ass for it. But then when I started to explain to her, what I was doing and why I was doing it, she understood the opportunity there, and what that could do, potentially. So, that is, there's some cool things here. Matt Andrews rocks. Yes, he is. He's a great dude. Love the setup. Are you using a DSLR? Nope. I am using a Sony a6400. Hey, if you want my video setup, I have all the links to Amazon to get the exact same setup. So if you hit me in the DM, I am happy to send you a link with all of that information so you can literally just go to Amazon and buy this whole entire setup for free. Not for free, but without doing all the homework. So if you're interested in that, shoot me a DM. I'm happy to help there. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So creating these connections and opportunities. You know, I see a lot of people out there stepping up to the plate, raising their hand, asking good questions, and really being vulnerable with what they're struggling with, specifically in this Breakfast of Champions room, right? And it's really igniting the connection between these heavy hitters and the actual and the audience. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And so there's a lot of opportunity here. There was one guy that okay, here's another cool thing. One guy gets up there and he says, my goal for 2021, he's a successful established business owner out of San Diego. And he's like, I want to send 3 kids to college this year. And I want to mentor personally, one-on-one, 3 young adult, young professionals, right? And he had this whole plan on how to do it. And one of the big heavy hitters, again, I forget who he was, said, you know what? I want to be part of that. DM me on Instagram and let's get connected. Like that, 2 seconds, boom. I was doing a Clubhouse room today about how to leverage your podcast to, I'm sorry, how to build your brand using a podcast. And I was co-moderating with Sebastian Rusk, great dude, by the way, and Hernan, awesome podcaster. And this woman, Susie, who just happened to be podcasting since 2005, she came up to ask a question, and then I wound up keeping her around as a moderator because she had so much experience. And she mentioned something about one sheets, right? And I had forgot to mention to the audience like what a one sheet was and how it can help you build your brand using podcasts. And so I said to the audience, listen, I have a one sheet that has been getting me on some big shows. And if you want to model it, and use it as a reference, shoot me a DM on Instagram and I will send you my one sheet so you can have a look at it. After I had to moderate another room right after that one. So I was away from Instagram for a couple of hours. I went back and there was 50 DMs asking me for my one sheet, which could lead to potential business. I don't know. I was just trying to help people, frame out what they should be doing with their podcast and how to, leverage one sheets to get onto their shows and so on and so forth. So just like that, 50 inquiries. Now I'll send them my podcast. There's my story there. There's my social media. There's, my areas of expertise. So if there's any way that I can help them, they're going to potentially reach out. Who knows? So those are just some couple of ways that you can leverage Clubhouse to really connect. Stephen Kuhn says film deals were made in the rooms. Companies invested in, and Grant bought a license for $50,000 on the spot. Yeah, that was Stephen, are you talking about where the guy had the trademark name of Cardi B's real name and he was trying to sell it for $500,000 and Grant Cardone pitched, came back and said, I'll buy it for $50,000. I think that, that was the one thing that I might have seen I was like blown away. I was at the gym and this guy was trying to sell Cardi B's real name because he trademarked it or had the trademark. Yeah. That's what Steven was referring to. The guy, Grant, I don't know if he bought it or not, but I'm sure they're in conversation. But yeah, Grant said, I'll buy that. I'll buy it off you for 50 grand. Let's go. So look at what's going on. There was another Clubhouse room that was awesome. It was basically Shark Tank. It was basically Shark Tank. Kevin Harrington started it, and then there was Matt Andrews was a potential investor. Cody Sperber, big guy in the real estate space called the Clever Investor. He was an AKA a shark. There was tons of other people that were sitting there as investors saying, pitch me your deal. And people went up one by one and pitched, and they got feedback on their pitch. Some people got to the next round. Basically, one of the investors said, I want you to DM me. I want to continue this conversation. There was other people that didn't have such a great pitch, let's say that, and they got coached. They got coached. So it was interesting. Yeah, Steven says Grant got a Netflix deal there in the room too. Yeah. So do you see the craziness that's going on in this room? Now, people are funny. People will say, well, this is the next hottest thing. It's shiny object syndrome. Everybody's jumping on it. It'll fizzle out eventually. True. But let's look at reality for a second. Where is people's attention? It's on that platform. So why ignore it? To spite yourself? Don't spite your nose to save your face, or whatever the hell that, you know what I mean, right? Don't spite your nose to save your face, because I'm telling you right now, I've spent a lot of time on Clubhouse, just listening in, trying to get the lay of the land, seeing how people are monetizing or leveraging. People are creating incentives. So they'll create a room and it'll be slow to get people into it. So they'll say, all right, if this room gets to 500 people, I'm going to give away $500 to a random person in the audience. Right? Boom. Then you see this like fire and big, huge uptick of audience member, right? So there's some really cool ways to create these opportunities. I'll tell you something that happened that was just absolutely mind-blowing for me, again, personally. So it was New Year's Day. I'm waiting for my wife to get ready. We're going down to see her grandfather because he turns 96 on New Year's Day, right? So I'm like, you know what? Let me just get my feet wet with this thing and see what happens, right? So I create a room called Building Your Brand on Clubhouse, right? So I jump in and I invited one of my buddies who I knew who was already on the platform. He comes on, and then his entire following starts to jump into the room, right? So I'm like, holy crap. So now we got an audience of like 50 people, 50 in about 5 minutes. I'm like, holy shit, I don't even get that on my live stream sometimes on Instagram. So I'm like, okay. So I start bringing people on, and I brought my friend up because he knew more of the platform than I did, and he starts explaining it to me and to the audience, and we're picking up momentum here, and the room's growing. I'm like, holy crap, right? So I end the room because we got to go down to see my grandfather, right? So I'm driving down. I'm getting out of the car to go into his apartment, and I look down on my phone, and I see a Stripe notification, and it's for a brand assessment. And I'm like, wait a second. And then I look at the name. It's one of the people that was in the Clubhouse room. I only had that room open for 45 minutes, and somebody had already booked a brand assessment with me. I was like, holy crap. So I showed my wife. My wife was like, all right, well, there's a sign. Maybe you need to start to spend a little bit more time there on Clubhouse. So that is some of the crazy potential and lucrative opportunity that is sitting there waiting for you inside of this platform. All right. Daniel Montgomery says, that's wild. The potential of networking collaboration is unlimited. Yeah, exactly. Invite me next time. I will edify the crap out of you. Steven, dude, I appreciate you, man. Definitely. I have some rooms that I'm thinking of doing next week. And I would love for you, Stephen, to be a co-host or moderator with me. I think you could bring a tremendous amount of insight and expertise to the table. I love what you do. And look, Stephen Kuhn was on my podcast. Stephen, how long was it ago? Almost 2 years ago, probably. And Clubhouse has reconnected us, like literally on the spot, right? It's crazy. So I'm so happy to reconnect with you, Stephen. And yes, when we create those rooms, I definitely want you to be part of them. I think you'd be an awesome asset to the room, and huge experience. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm like shot because I've been going since 10 a.m. this morning. You'd be a huge value add. Yeah, value add. Yeah. So here's Roberto. I love Clubhouse. It seems to be genuine and people are open for collaboration and co-creation. It's amazing. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Much love to you too, brother. So I sounded like who did I sound? I sound like Hulk Hogan there. Oh man. So all right, I'm gonna hear my wife in about 5 minutes. I got about 5 more minutes. I'll stick around before I gotta go get my little guy. But so these are some of the things that I've been seeing on Clubhouse that has been just eye-opening for me. Seeing these big people or just seeing these deals go down, right? Just seeing these opportunities go down, right? Again, I've been on this platform a week, right? And I'm pushing 800 followers. I don't think I ever grew my Instagram that fast or any of my platforms that quickly. And it's got a really cool feature. Like, it encourages you to follow other people, because when you follow other people and they jump into different rooms, it notifies you, right? So it's keen to follow the right people, right? Because you get in the right rooms. So what has this taught me? Like, what has this taught me? A couple things. One is, when you get brought up as a moderator to a room, you automatically establish authority, credibility, and expertise. And that's what people look for, right? Especially if they're going to spend a lot of money with you. That's number one. But number two, the networking and how everybody is intertwined now on this platform, right? Stephen, here's a funny one for you, right? I knew John Lee just from Instagram, like in passing, right? Just like in passing. I never really followed him, closely or anything like that. But every room I jump in, John Lee's there as a moderator, right? And I listen to him, and you could tell he's a genuine dude that is doing some amazing things, right? And if it wasn't for Clubhouse, I would have never got to know John Lee on that level, right? And it just created a stronger, he doesn't know it yet, but it created a stronger relationship virtually between me and him. I'm thinking about having him on my podcast now because I think he'd be a great value add, right? But look, so that's one. And two, look, Stephen, just by moderating these bigger rooms, he's been on the platform 5 days, and he's up to he's going to break 3,000 followers, right? So I'm a huge proponent of you staying focused and not jumping to shiny object syndrome, but I'm also a proponent of going where the attention is at the moment to capitalize on that opportunity, right? So I highly recommend you jump in, give it a shot. If you don't have an invitation, go ask for one, right? Daniel Montgomery, before, it was like, I want to get in, but I'm looking for an invite, right? He just put it out there in the world, and boom, what did I say? I got one. I'll give it to you. So just ask. Yeah, Steven's like, John Lee is crazy valuable. Yeah, he's and he seems like it comes from the heart too. He's a very strategic businessman, and he's a smart businessman, but he also has got a big heart, and you could tell. There was a woman a couple of days ago who was a truck driver. She was an 18-wheel. She was a truck driver. She drove an 18-wheeler, right? And she had this burning desire to create this business. And she gets the opportunity to come on stage and ask the question. And before she can even ask the question, she bursts out in tears because she was so grateful to even get to these people, right? So you can hear it. She's crying her eyes out, and she's so authentic and vulnerable. And half the panel, you could tell, were hesitant to respond because you could tell they were trying to collect themselves because they were getting emotional. Gary Henderson actually came out and said it. I don't know that guy either, but he's creating some big waves and big rooms on that. And he was like, dude, I got to wait a second because I'm pretty choked up, right? And a couple of the panelists, a couple of the moderators said to this woman, you reach out to me and we're going to get you the resources that you need to make this happen. And boom, just like that, there was a connection. So I'm telling you now, guys, before this thing turns into something different, because eventually it will. Come on, look at what Instagram did. Look at what Facebook did. Look at what all the social platforms did. They eventually mature into something else. But right now, you know, the way that I could describe this is this. Clubhouse is the equivalent of Facebook when it first came out, as far as reach. Steven says, gotta run, brother. Time for my own life. See you soon. Good to see you again. Absolutely, Steven. And I will see you on Clubhouse on Monday inside the Breakfast of Champions room. I can promise you that. Take care, brother. So there is a lot of opportunity to grow, expand, and create some great opportunities with some great people on this platform. I encourage you to go check it out. I encourage you to come follow me at The Brand Doctor. It's The Brand DR. Or maybe just type in my name. I'm sure it'll come up as well. Drop me a follow, and I'll be sure to follow you back. And let's go create some value for people on that platform. Let's go help some other people on that platform. You could tell people are enjoying it, one, but two, they're really getting some great value, and they're getting connection. They're getting insight. They're getting some really great opportunities that would have never happened without that platform coming to the world. So I hope this video was helpful to you. I know I was bouncing around a little bit, but phenomenal opportunities over there on the Clubhouse app that I highly recommend you go and check out, and get your hands dirty with it a little bit. And don't be afraid to jump on stage and ask a question, because you never know when you're going to get that opportunity again, right? And so I will be jetting. So I hope you guys got some value out of this. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will catch you on the next live stream really, really soon. Take care.